My parents gave all of my inheritance to my brother after they blamed me for my dad's body rejecting my kidney, so I turned them all against each other. So I donated my kidney to my dad when I was 23 because his kidneys were failing, and doctors said he had 6 months without a transplant. I went through with the whole thing, even though it meant taking a semester off college and spending 2 months recovering from surgery. 3 months later, his body started rejecting it because sometimes the immune system just decides a new organ is the enemy. My dad went back on dialysis, and somehow my parents decided this was my fault. My mom started making comments about how I should have taken better care of myself before the surgery, suggesting I had contaminated the organ. My dad just stopped talking to me, giving me one-word answers at dinner while having full conversations with my brother. Meanwhile, my brother was 26, still living at home and working part-time, but suddenly he became the family hero because he started making dad green protein smoothies every morning that he saw on some influencer's page claiming to cleanse the kidneys. My parents would not shut up about how devoted and caring he was, like blending kale made him a medical professional while I was walking around with a missing organ. The whole situation kept getting worse, and my mom stopped inviting me to family dinners, posting pictures of her and dad and my brother with captions about her loving family while I was not in a single photo. When I called about my dad's health, she would say he was resting, but then I would see my brother's Instagram stories showing them watching movies together. My dad canceled our weekly coffee meetups until he stopped responding to my texts entirely. I drove to the house one Sunday and rang the doorbell for 10 minutes while I could hear them laughing inside, and nobody answered. When I tracked down my brother at his gym, he told me I needed to give them space because my presence was a reminder of the failed transplant. Then I found their will while picking up mail at their house. There was a lawyer's envelope on the counter, and I opened it to discover my dad had rewritten everything to leave it all to my brother. The house, the savings, the life insurance, everything going to my brother while my name was not mentioned. I confronted my mom in the kitchen, and she said my dad felt betrayed and could not trust me. I reminded her I had literally given him a piece of my body, and she looked me dead in the eye and said, "That doesn't matter if it doesn't work." I showed up at their house 2 weeks later during Sunday dinner without calling ahead, walked right in and sat down at the table. My mom looked panicked. My brother looked confused. My dad just stared at me like I was a stranger. I waited until everyone was uncomfortable before I turned to my brother and said, "I've been thinking about those smoothies you make, Dad, every morning, and I finally figured out what is making him so sick." My brother started to say something, but I cut him off and told my dad that his devoted son has been making those health smoothies with tap water this entire time, not filtered water, just straight from the faucet for months. My dad's face went red and he slammed both hands down on the table, screaming about how he had told everyone 1,000 times that he could only drink filtered water, though he'd never actually talked about this at all. He turned to my brother and screamed, "You've been poisoning me with tap water for months. You're killing me with your stupidity." My mom jumped in to defend my brother and said it was an honest mistake, which only made my dad turn on her and yell about how she should have been supervising. My brother said he had been making those smoothies every morning, and nobody said anything about water, but my dad screamed that he should not have to remind people of basic medical instructions. My brother stormed out and slammed the door so hard a picture frame fell off the wall. My mom was crying and saying this was my fault while my dad yelled that nobody respected him, and I just sat there watching them all fall apart. My mom turned to me and called me an evil little troll who was as useless as my broken organs, but I said, "At least my brain works, unlike either of yours." My dad went silent. I stood up and told them, "I don't need your stupid inheritance anyway." My dad's face turned purple, and he started screaming about how I had no right to come into his house and destroy his family, about how ungrateful I was after everything they did for me, about how the inheritance was his to do with as he pleased. Then he yelled, "You think I wanted to give it all to your brother? I don't even have a choice anymore. I had to put the house up as collateral, and if I don't figure out how to pay back what I owe by next month, we lose everything anyway." My mom's face went completely white, and she said, "What are you talking about?" My dad realized what he had just said. He tried to backtrack, but my mom kept asking what he meant by collateral and what he owed, and finally he admitted he had been betting on sports online for years. The mortgage, the savings, the life insurance, all of it gone. My brother came back inside because he could hear the screaming, and my mom was crying about how there was nothing left, and I just started laughing. My dad told me to get out and I left, still laughing.